So this example is based in a factory that was in a Cambridgeshire town, and most of the workforce there came from the surrounding Cambridgeshire dormitory villages. And the factory was going through hard times because we had Far Eastern competition that was driving down our selling price. And our output had dropped to 40 a day because, frankly, we were making a big loss even at that. So there's a real need to boost productivity, boost output, or go bust. And then they recruited me. Now, as an example, Gemma's mum worked for us, and we had started to raise output slightly, so it was creeping up toward 100 a day. And Gemma's mum was worried about her daughter. Now, Gemma was just 18, she was finished with school, she wasn't in any form of education or training, and she had no job. So some of these Cambridgeshire dormitory villages are a bit rough, to be fair. There is nothing for the young people to do at all. And she was in with a group of people who, well, let's just say that her mother was very worried about what was going to happen. Now, we had a policy that we wouldn't employ relatives because it just made for too many complications. But Gemma's mum was desperate, and she begged her manager, and, well, she relented, and we gave Gemma a trial. She was very good when she did her practice, and so we gave her a 3-month temporary appointment. And Gemma, to be fair, was very good. She was quite fast, very accurate, and that's what we wanted. Now, I don't know who employed many 18-year-olds, but they have a common characteristic. And that is, they always know better than you why you should be doing it a different way, and they ask a lot of why questions. Now, of course, that's not always so convenient, and Gemma was certainly an expert at doing that. It was why not, why. Now, as it happened, I'd seen this Hawthorne thing many years before, a few decades before, and so in that factory I had established a system whereby we allowed people, we encouraged people, for heaven's sake, to ask why, to do experiments, to try and find a better way, not just once every set piece, 3 months or every year or something, but constantly, day by day, twice a day, 3 times a day. I mean, there are experiments going on all over the place, anything just to make a small incremental improvement. And Gemma joined us and joined in the fun. Now, as I say, output was slowly growing. By now we'd grown from 40 a day to a few hundred a day, and yes, we had more staff. And the machine at the beginning of the process had always been a bottleneck. This machine could have quite a long changeover time from product to product, and very often that changeover time was longer than time it took to run the product. So how you scheduled the products through the machine was quite important. Equally, you had to schedule them fairly close to the customer requirements, otherwise the customers got upset, and you need to keep the factory busy, otherwise Stephen got upset. So we gave Gemma the job of running this machine, keep that going, and she loved it. Within a month she'd done away with all the problems, and the machine was humming along nicely. When there were technical problems that needed R&D's input, she used her undoubted charms to win the engineers over and to come and help. Brilliant. So now our output has crept up to 800 a day, and I suppose we've got sort of twice as many people. And we needed another machine at the beginning, plus it couldn't cope. So the manager was going to visit various machine manufacturers, and she asked Gemma if she wanted to go with her to visit the machine manufacturers. Now, Gemma's now 20, and this girl, who was a NEET just a couple of years ago, goes out and buys herself a business suit. Isn't that incredible? Can you imagine her sense of self-confidence, self-worth, achievement? she's still just about on minimum wage, I have to say. We go and buy a second machine and the output continues to climb until eventually we're doing 1,800 a day, and that was 4 times as many staff as when we had 40 a day coming out. Now, unfortunately, Gemma then wanted to get married, and we couldn't afford to pay her much more than minimum wage, and she knew she had to leave. So Gemma came to me and said, look, I've got to leave because I need more money, but could I come back in the evenings just to make sure that my machines are still running properly? Now that's the sort of employee engagement, whatever you want to call it, that makes a difference, because when the chips are down, those people are there for you.